What is up, Will family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hang Time, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. And boy, are we hyped for tonight, guys. Game 6 NBA Finals after what was a giant momentum swing over the past week where the Bucks really exerted their physicality and took control of the series, taking it to the Suns, even in the last game where the Suns looked like they were going to run away with it. And Giannis just went off on a whole nother level. So really excited to see what's going to go on tonight. Maybe we'll see more of Giannis going off like this.
Booker the drive, gets inside, leans in, knocked away and stolen by Holiday. Phoenix has to foul, and a pinnacle ball throws it down. And a foul. Giannis on the alley-oop. What a turnaround.
An absolutely epic play that I'm sure will be immortalized in Top Shot, and we'll be able to snag some moments off of that. Looking forward to being able to have an opportunity for that, and I'm glad that I have that to look forward to because the USA basketball team suffered another, I want to say, sketchy few games. Ended up 2-2 in Vegas as they get ready for the Olympics. They're actually gone now, right? They're on their way to Tokyo, sans a few players because of COVID. I think Zach LaVine now is sitting out as well. You know, we have Bradley Beal, we have Jeremy Grant also out because of COVID protocols. And at the same time, we have players still playing in the finals. Chris Middleton, Booker, so real big impact players, Jrue Holiday. It'll be interesting to see if these guys can pull it together. They've certainly struggled as far as chemistry goes, and that makes sense given that they really haven't had a lot of time as a team. Also, playing a different kind of offense. We'll see how they do. USA basketball has a reputation to uphold, so hopefully they can pull it together. But I will be watching. Definitely interesting to see if this will have an effect on the moments, right? So these guys playing outside of the scope of the NBA and the league. Will it have a material impact on the product? I think it will. And let's not forget, Top Shot also alluded to having some different challenges or possibly some quests and things of that nature relative to USA basketball. So that will be very cool to see how they can incorporate that. But let's talk Top Shot real quick. So the market over the past week, you can see that, we've kind of floated above. We regained some momentum for dollar volume after getting to this low, this couple month low here of about $500,000. So we floated around the, 700. We peaked up here a little bit, but I would say on average, maybe 700,000 per day. But the interesting thing is the transaction volume has stayed considerably high. And that's driven, I would think, in large part due to the quests and some of the different gamification that these guys are running. It's getting people to go out there and snag moments that they can use to try to qualify. And some of those moments are lower dollar value, but it's getting people active in the ecosystem. It's keeping the floor above that real low level. So I think that, there's some positive learnings that they can take from this and really amplify it as we head into the next season. The Whale Vault in itself, still the number one ranked account. We're floating around the $29 million mark. That's consistent with what we saw last week. 28.6 million was last week. And a slight bump, but as we've talked about, with such low liquidity, with such scarce moments when we're talking 1 of 50 and things of that nature, small moves can make a material impact. But it's good to see that we're holding and we're not plummeting down from a floor there. Relative to floors, we can see that base set series 1 has continued its slow climb back after seeing consistent declines for a while. It's still down considerably from a month ago, but base set 2 is actually showing an increase now, and even versus a month ago. So I'm not sure if that's because of people being more active in the market with some of the stuff going on, or it's relative to what's accessible, but good to see that we're not consistently seeing the downtrend on there. And then we have a tiny uptick here with regard to users. This is something we'd like to watch and see, how are the marketing efforts that Dapper's doing affecting everything going on. Not a huge uptick. So, a lot of their outreach for new users maybe didn't have the most poignant effect. We talked about how they were trying to leverage the qualifier for the tiered rare pack. If you recall, you only need 100 points or whatever it was to qualify for tier 1 and have, a chance to be one person out of 380,000 or whatever that would be able to land the 2,000 packs. And so they tried to kind of walk people through that process. It looks like that wasn't a good enough incentive to get people on board, which is fine. They're trying a lot of different stuff. Let's throw spaghetti at the wall and see what actually sticks. Relative to that drop, though, man, none of us, at least from what I recall in our community chat, none of us landed one of these rare packs. So, man, tough odds with the tier system. I would expect them to continue to tweak it, but I was surprised to see that, especially with some Joe Boos hanging out there. So, maybe it was for the best. Maybe it wasn't going to be the best return and the best pulls. But you did see a couple of stories on Twitter where people had long odds and were able to score. So it was good to see. That builds a good narrative for people to be able to participate and not be totally gated out of legendaries and things of that nature, which is really not a democratic process. Really, I have mixed feelings on their efforts to try to make sure that the existing top tier collectors are the ones that have the access to all the drops. I understand, trying to cater to that base because they help build you to where you are, but you want to give other people the opportunity to get in it without having to just spend exorbitantly. So we'll see how that continues to be fine-tuned as they move forward. If you are into challenges, the DeAndre Ayton is running right now. So this is, I believe, the second challenge rather, for this pack, and there's 4 days remaining. It's only about $1,000 to complete. That's down from where it was a couple of days ago. So, if you're interested in Ayton, obviously an exciting player, not someone I would personally be trying to score, but if you are, you have some time, but it looks like the price has fluctuated a little bit there, and you're able to complete it for at a discount versus where it was a couple of days ago. But speaking of quests, I mentioned quests because that's top of mind. We talked a bit before about these cool quests that are going on during the actual playoffs where, they'll say, hey, can you get the top rebounders, the top scorers, whoever had triple doubles and things of that nature. So we've been through that. If you participate in it, you have a chance at what was 500 playoff packs, 10 legendary packs, and 50 rare packs. So pretty cool prizes, opportunity to score some legendaries and rares. Obviously, the legendaries are a finals pack drop, so those won't happen until after that actual drop happens. And if we get the end of the finals tonight, which is quite possible, Deer District may be celebrating, then, we could be looking at a week to 2 weeks before we get that legendary pack. But that being said, they have raised the prizes for this. So now the prize distro is 1,000 playoff packs. The prize packs have doubled. So if you weren't participating before thinking, I don't know, there's not a lot of packs, maybe that sways you a little bit, right? You have even more odds to score some of those playoff packs. And I don't know the numbers of participating accounts that are taking part in the quest. I'll have to look that up for you guys, but you may have good odds if it's relative to what we see on some of the other things like trivia and whatnot. So I mentioned trivia. So throughout the games, they've been putting up trivia questions, and all you have to do is retweet with your answer and your Top Shot account. I really hadn't been paying much attention to this because, quite honestly, I'm pretty busy and I have the attention span of a ferret sometimes, right? So the game's on, I got stuff going on here. I'm not really hopping on and trying to do trivia. But then I took a look at the odds. So for this particular question, only 550 people participated, and they're giving away 150 packs. Right. So, I don't know if this is per question or if this is for the entire night, but decent odds either way to be able to score something, either, you're 1 in 4, because this has pretty much been 500 to 800 responses per trivia question, or, maybe that's multiplied by 4 or 5, but even so, those are decent odds. Certainly much better than the odds of scoring some of those rare packs, right? When we were just talking about those queues. So Esoteric has said you actually have to quote and retweet every time. You have to answer every question. Well, like I said, attention span of a ferret. So I guess I won't be participating, especially if that's the qualifier. Thank you for clarifying that for us. But again, there's a lot of different ways to participate with what they're doing. And so, if you're really embedded in the product and you're all about the NBA, more opportunities for packs and to kind of reward your fandom, which is a lot of what they've been harping on recently. I thought this was interesting over the past week. They introduced their economist that they had brought on board. And, they had him on during office hours. He gave an introduction. He also put up this blog post relative to things that, were priorities for him and his background and things of that nature. I found it interesting. He actually put his Twitter account up here as well, so you can interact with him regularly. If you have concerns or feedback or whatever, you can go to Top Shot Econ on Twitter and have a direct someone said the economist is less popular than Jacob. Interesting. You could have a direct correspondence with him. There were some things that were not well received and some things that were, so I'll let you guys gauge that for yourselves. A couple of things that were interesting to me during those conversations, they talked about, really wanting to have a lot of packs, base packs available, because that's the key for them to onboard people and for retention. People going through that process of ripping it and seeing the moments are kind of key to hooking people. But then they talked about where the moments actually reside. So I think they said 90% of the moments are still with either the original owner that ripped them from the pack or from the first person that bought them from the marketplace. So, that's an interesting dynamic there. And I'm sure some of it some of the valuation of the particular moment plays a role, right? Something that's really sought after is going to be moved a lot more than, say, a player that's kind of not really sought after and could be, a bench player or whatever. I'm trying to be nice. I know in the past we've called scrubs, but any of these scrubs could obviously take me to school, right? But a less than desirable moment at the time probably wouldn't be moved as much. So, I think that percentage could be a little bit deceiving, but it does say a lot about the people that are participating in this, and that there's more collectors than flippers, and that's good to see. But obviously flippers can play a big role with the volume that they can control. So just something to keep in mind relative to that figure that they had thrown around. On a side note, they also mentioned during office hours that they'll never return to the days where you could buy like the Whale Vault did, right? Whale Shark went in and was able to buy tons of packs all at once. But they are looking at how they can reinstitute opportunities to buy multiple packs at a time, right? So we'll see how that will play out. But it sounds like this has been touched on a couple of times. That's something that they're going to consider doing. I know they had done either 2 drops ago where they had mentioned if packs remained after the initial drop on a Friday, if there were still some available on Saturday, people that had already purchased would have the opportunity to jump back in and make that purchase. So that's something they are moving towards. And then I'd seen someone mention the suite experience, the Top Shot suite experience. I paid attention to this in passing. This was the reward that they had given people when they took a snapshot of people that had designated the Suns as their favorite team and had X amount of collector's score versus particular players from the Suns, and it looked pretty cool. It was pretty standard stuff as far as the suite goes, but what I liked is this opportunity everybody had to really mix it up with some legends from the team, right? So whatever team you're a fan of, imagine you can go to the suite and then chop it up with some people that you really, really enjoyed watching or idolize and are just absolute legends. So cool seats. Looks like they pulled out all the stops. We had Tom Chambers, we had Chapman, we had a bunch of people stopping by in the suite, and that alone is an invaluable experience and hard for anyone to get on their own just going and attending a game. So that being said, I did have a couple of outside of Top Shot things I wanted to mention to you guys. Space Jam, we talked about it live when it dropped during Hang Time last week. I was able to scoop a few myself. Didn't get a legendary LeBron, but some people were able to get some very cool rare rare cards. I don't know what we call these guys. But it did say down here that the marketplace is actually opening in about 7 days, right? So 8 days from now, we'll have an opportunity to see what we can do with these things and what the market will be like. And you guys can, play with that and gamify that a little bit. I will say I actually saw Space Jam over the weekend, and it was surprisingly good. I say surprising because I had low expectations for it, and I am not the biggest LeBron fan, but once they actually got out of the real life stuff, which was quickly, and into the area with the tunes, it was hilarious. It was pretty funny. Like, I know the reviews are killing it, but I watched it and I laughed out loud and really enjoyed it. And I'm pretty difficult to please. I'm a pretty big critic. I mentioned during office hours, I was with my little guy, and he has like zero interest in basketball at the moment. He doesn't even know who LeBron James is. He doesn't know any of the Looney Tune characters from a hole in the wall. It's just not part of his generation. And this movie introduced them in a way that was, the characteristics of each of them were really emphasized and really comedic. And so he was cracking up, and then they threw in meme culture, and they digitized and video game stuff. And there's some stuff beyond what you expect. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was worth the watch. So I actually ran out and bought some like Looney Tunes blind bags for Legos that I happened to see that I was passing by afterwards, just because I was in the moment. But it is a cool movie. If you guys have any reason that you get stuck and you're dreading it, don't. It's actually pretty enjoyable. I did like this homage to my boy, the hoodie that they put in there. So obviously we have the hood, the headset, cut off sleeves, the coach of the most despised team. You can obviously infer who that was. So I love being in people's heads. I love that the Patriots are in the heads even of the Space Jam movie. So cool stuff there. And here was just another cool thing that happened this past week. So Moment Nerd put together this avatar creator that essentially lets you take some moments from your Top Shot account and create kind of a Twitter avatar. If you were interested in doing that, or using it on, I guess, the Top Shot Discord or something like that. So what you can do is you can input your Top Shot username. I'm going to use the Whale Vault because they have much more interesting moments than myself. That will take an extra moment here, given that we have about 10,000 individual moments within our account. And so you can select the tier that you want to work with, the player, and then it will generate this moment, or rather this avatar that you can use. So let's see. I will go with a Ja Morant. I'm a big Ja guy. And again, it's momentnerd.com/avatar. Or you can check out Moment Nerd on Twitter and then follow from there. What? All right. So I'm going to go with the Luca because I'm sure that that's legendary. Generate avatar. And there you go. It calls out, it gives a cool border around it, highlights the moment in the middle, talks about the tier moment that it is, and actually the serial that it has up there. So if you guys want to flex a little bit, there's your opportunity. If you want a little something different than the generated avatar projects that are out there and the animals, take a break from your ape or your cat or your duck or whatever it is for a little bit. You could throw up one of your Top Shot moments. And so I did see some comments I wanted to touch on here in the chat, specifically relative to the Whale DAO. I think the Ninja Turtles mentioned that they will soon be reposting. I know they've been reworking it for a couple of weeks, so we're going to encourage everyone to participate with that and be sure to put in your vote. I know it's being refined with the help of Justin so that it's more turnkey and addresses all of the concerns relative to liability and things of that nature. So we should just be able to reap the benefits of some of the cool stuff that the Vault Moments would allow us to snag, whether they're packs, whether they're drops. Yes, so Ninja Turtles mentions that the DAO proposal will be coming out next week or so. So be on the lookout for that for sure. One other thing I thought I'd like to do tonight, if you guys are listening, and maybe I'll throw this in our Top Shot community room as well. But I'm interested in what you guys think will happen. That was a huge momentum shift that happened over the course of the past week from the Suns to the Bucks, even in the last game. I want to know what you guys have for score predictions. Closest will get 5 whale. Let's start with 5 whale. 5 whale for the closest score prediction to what's going to happen tonight. I'll put a post into the room as well. Let's see how you guys can hone in and make some predictions on what we are about to see. Is the game tomorrow? Wow. Well, you know what? That might be the case. It is. It's on Tuesday. I thought it was tonight. So now I am in the penalty box for having my dates mixed up. I need to make this 10 whale. 10 whale will go to the closest for the score prediction. I need total score combined. Now I want each, so I'll figure out the best way to measure it, but I want the score for each team and the winner picked. 10 whale for my sins. That's correct. I'm on the struggle bus today. I have been a little bit this week. I need to repent and stay on the good graces of Joe Boo. I'm not sure if Heather is aware of Joe Boo and his importance here, but we'll all send Heather some Joe Boos so she can get some of the karma as well. Score predictions can come in now. If you want to preempt my post, I will put a post in the Top Shot community room as well. You could definitely think about it. So anytime before games start is good. Think about it though, no editing. I can't have any edited scores. Once the scores go in, that's going to be final. If I see edited next to it, even if you were a little harsh on me for my rough performance on the day and you had to take it out, we can't count it. All right, so we're good with the contest. Again, I'll be putting the details in the room. We can work on that then. I think you guys also heard during whale hour and office hours that we're moving forward with some stuff for fantasy football. I've gotten the loose okay, which is what I start with before I start to cause trouble and then ask for forgiveness afterwards. So we're going to go forward with some iteration of fantasy football, whether it's going to be daily, whether it's going to be weekly fantasy, or maybe a knockout league. I'm going to talk with each of the people that have reached out to me about kind of a committee and seeing if we can, pool our ideas and resources. And I'm of the mindset to let you guys run with it. So we'll talk about what exactly that entails. I'll be the evil overseer. I'll be the Bill Belichick in my hoodie, staring down and making you guys execute. No days off. No, I'm just kidding. I'll let you guys do what you do. You guys are obviously awesome at it. You've told me that you've done it year over year, and I think we have some very cool possibilities in store for the community. Other than that, I'd like to know if there's anything else you guys are collecting this week that you're interested in talking about, that you need to put on my radar because I'm not talking about it. I think people may have a little bit of whiplash from collectibles dropping, right? I think there's a lot of discussion on what's going on with collectibles and whether or not the model's sustainable and how quickly the floors are rising, people trying to get in and out. So one thing, just so you guys know, I'm actually working on in the background, Adidust is a long-time veteran of trying to play these things. He's put us on to projects like that long before Bored Apes, that he would see and have the foresight and say, hey, get in. And he's flipped a ton. As you know, he's part of the Hash Masks project as well. So I'm working with Addy. We're probably going to have a special show we're going to put together on collectibles, specifically talking about what to look out for, in general, what his strategy has been, what the success drivers have been previously, as well as, how does he go about playing it? Does he buy a certain amount of supply to, be able to impact floors and things of that nature? So it'd be interesting for me, just in that I don't have the same background that he does in it. And of all of us on the mod team, he's probably the most active in doing that. He's always got his hand in nearly all of them. I see a comment with regards to pump and dump games being played, and I'm sure that's for the avatars, but then that's followed by the retweets and likes on my content on Twitter. So are you pumping and dumping my Twitter mention? Is that what's happening, Heather? That sounds like a DC activity. That has DC's influence all over it. The same man that someone was talking about spots in Brooklyn that you need to check out if you're there. I don't know if you caught this, Heather, but they were talking about spots in Brooklyn, like if you're there, what restaurant you need to definitely check or whatever. And he's like, oh, I know this burger place. It was awesome. Let me think about it. He's like, yeah, it was called Shake Shack. Right? You gave him a chain restaurant. I love to say he was trolling, but he was legit. So the DC said that. And so then afterwards, I said, oh man, you have to check this pizza place. It's hot. It's called Domino's. And he came through. He was like, man, that's not even pizza. Like, he didn't even understand that I was, I was trying to make light of his insinuation that Shake Shack was awesome. That being said, you know what? If I was visiting Cali or something, if someone told me In-N-Out, maybe that would make sense. We need to put Joe Boo in the Twitter. Let me see what I got for you guys. Hold on. I know I have him here somewhere. Here we go. I'm going to drop this in the chat. If you want it, open it up. After you click on it, on the bottom left, there should be a button that says Open Original, and that'll give you the highest res, highest quality. Feria is there on filming, right? A documentary or something of that nature. All right, guys. As usual, I've devolved into food discussions. I just can't help myself. Usually, that's a time for me to wrap it up and go get something to eat. So, again, I will put the specifics with regards to the score contest. 10 whale up for grabs. We'll have until prior to the game tomorrow, which is actually good that, I figured that it would be tomorrow because it would give you short notice if it actually was tonight, right? So props to you guys for correcting me. My penance is doubling the whale that I got to put up, and I want to see you guys nail it. Maybe there'll be bonuses for some outliers or crazy stuff. You guys have a good week. We will chop it up in the community rooms, and good luck to everyone that wants to participate. Take care.